You know what's burning? All your baggage. I'm ready.
Ooh, but I kind of want to change my mind.
You can. That's the whole point of this episode. It feels like a change is coming. I don't know what that is. Please show me. And they were like, go to Pittsburgh. The, the message that people always receive when they're looking for guidance. Go to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is channeled often, I'm sure.
Welcome back to
Yay!
Living Magic.
With Kyla and Catherine. We always forget to say our names. I'm going to throw that in there. That's who
Thank
we
you.
are.
Thank you very
You're
much. That's
welcome.
who we are. We're here. Today, we are going to talk about one of my most favorite topics, which is quitting stuff.
You love to quit.
I
You're
love
such a
to quit.
quitter.
I love to
Just kidding.
quit.
I don't think that either.
I am a bit of a quitter. If you look back over the course of my life, I am a bit of a quitter, but it always is a deliberate quit. And we're going to talk about why I think it's been the right choice. Before we do, I want to read a quote that I saw yesterday, I think on Instagram. I screenshotted it, so I don't have any information about it. Sorry, not citing the information. You don't have to do something forever for it to be meaningful. You don't have to be with someone forever for it to have mattered. And sometimes letting go is the happy ending.
Oh, I got goosies
I
up my
know.
spine.
I know.
Sometimes letting go is the happy ending. That's so funny because I have like this right away a reaction to that. Like it makes me want to cry. Like it makes me want to cry just the idea of letting go as the happy ending because it seems like so not what you're supposed to do. And it also feels so right at the same time, you know?
Yeah. And I think there is a sadness to that because letting go is always, there's always going to be grief of some sort around it. If it's a person, if it's an idea that you held for yourself, if it was like a job that you were doing, there is going to be grief associated with it. And that can be true. And it still can also be the best thing that happened to everybody involved.
Right. Yeah. I remember one, and I can't remember the whole, there's a lot to that, but in a hospital, with a doctor with my mom one time when we were talking about something related with her cancer. And the doctor was like, she's like, how do you let go? That somehow came up. Well, how do you let go? I don't understand like the concept of letting go. And he like took a pin and dropped it on the floor. He's like that.
Well, that's so good. That's so clear.
It was not clear to me. I was like, this is stupid. You just dropped a pin on the floor. Like, how does that answer her question of how you let go of something?
You just do. You
You
decide
just
to.
do. You
Yeah.
just cut ties with whatever it is, the thought, the thing, the activity. You just quit. But why is quitting good? Why can quitting be good? Okay.
Let's enter the vortex to discuss this further.
Oh, and can we light my favorite smell?
Yeah, of course, you can invite our whole selves in.
Invite our whole selves in. Let's be speaking from our highest good
All the
and
quitter
knowledge.
sides of us.
The
All,
best part of quitting. Ooh, ooh. I wish you could smell this.
I wish I
I'm
could
putting it
too.
in.
I could light my own. I have a whole bunch of.
You could. You could also do that. I wish everybody that's listening could also smell this. Although not everybody likes the smell. So some people, my family's like, what's burning? What's burning in the house? Nothing. Your highest self is entering the house now and has permission.
You know what's burning? All your baggage,
The shit you need to let go of.
all your toxic
Let
energy.
go. Yeah, it's burning. Mom's getting it out, moving it along, burning it. Okay, now then. Oh, glasses.
I'm ready.
Ooh, but I kind of want to change my mind.
You can. That's the whole point of this episode.
I'm ending that and I'm putting on this. Hey, tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
1, 2, 3. I
Oh,
changed my mind to the ones that you were this. I was right here.
I almost put those on too. Those were my second choice, but I thought, you know what? I'm going classy and subtle today.
Have I already worn these?
I don't know. It's hard to keep track of. I'm sure you have.
this time, if I wouldn't have changed my mind, we would be the same right now if I wouldn't have changed my mind.
The glasses magic would have worked for one time.
The glasses magic would have worked.
We've really proved the magic in everyday lives.
I
The
think part of
glasses.
me is like, I'm not really meant to be this blingy. I don't feel the bling. I'm going to go back to the original choice.
Yeah,
No changing mind.
these are not blingy at all. These are just
But
subtle.
also, you can see through them a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where I needed to be. So, see, again, I quit and then I quit again.
All right. So quitting. I okay, here's the thing about quitting. I don't think that I don't want to say like I think quitting is a great thing to do because I don't think that quitting just blanket is a great thing to do. I think it's really important to do the things that you say you're going to do and follow through and not just be flaky. So quitting is not flaky to me. I mean, it can be. Quitting can be flaky if you're just quitting willy-nilly. This is very intentional quitting that we are talking about today. And that is how I have lived my life. So let me explain. Okay.
Please.
So there have been various points along my life where I felt at a deep level as if my soul was dying in this current situation that I was in. And that sounds very dramatic, but that is how it felt to me. It felt like if I continued on the path that I was on, that a part of me that was meant to be expressed in this lifetime was not going to get a chance to be expressed. So, for example, when I guess I was 23, I had been finishing up a master's program, and the next step is always like go to a PhD program. As I was finishing, I was like, I don't really think that I want to do a PhD program. I don't think I want to become a professor in psychology. I don't think that's the right plan. But all of my professors were like, just apply, see what happens, and then you'll have choices. So, me being a good student, I was like, okay, I will. So I applied, I got in, I got stipends, so I wasn't even gonna have to pay. And I ended up going early. Like I decided rather than starting in September, I was gonna start in June to get a jump on it because I'm that good of a student. I'm like, yes, let me
Mhm.
show up.
Yeah.
The, I don't know, 5 days in, I was like, this is gonna kill me. I could do this. I could make it work. And if I do, some part of me will die. This is not the life that I want. This is not what feels right to me. And it took me a few more months. I think I ultimately quit in November. So I was there for maybe 5 months before I just said, no, I cannot do this. If I do this, I am giving up an essential part of my life. And that to me is when quitting is absolutely right. It is
Mm.
the choice where you say, okay, I put myself on a path and now that path feels fundamentally out of alignment with who I am and what my soul is here to do in this life. And then quit away.
I don't think that is amazing, first of all, that you can identify that. I don't know, for me anyway, that it's always that easy.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy, especially, well, okay, good. I'm glad you said it's not easy because it would have taken me a lot longer. I would have wasted a lot more time.
Well, I had some things happen in that case where it sort of pushed me. I do think the universe tends to push me in these moments in time sometimes. So like what happened was that November, actually, it was 2 years to the day that my father had died, where my best friend from college, her mother was dying of breast cancer. And she was there helping her dad with all of it. And she called me and I said, do you want me to come help you? And she was like, yes. And so I just left. I said, this matters more to
Mm.
me than this program. So there was a clear, like, where is your priority? And I got a lot of shit from my professor for being like flaky and just leaving. But I knew at the end of my life, what was going to be more important was that I was there for my friend when her mother was dying and I could support her and be there. And I didn't care. I just truly didn't care. And that to me confirmed, right, this is not the priority. So there was an event that also helped push me along in that. And it could have taken me longer. I think also because my dad had died 2 years earlier at a pretty young age. He was 50. And I, that incident really made me feel like you've got limited time. You don't know how long you
Mm.
have, and you don't want to waste it. But then I found myself again at that same point when I was, after I had had my daughter, we were working regular jobs, living a regular life in a suburb. And after my daughter was born and I was going to work every day, I was leaving her with a in-home daycare, and it, I just felt like my heart was breaking every single day. And I know that this is a choice that so many women have to make. And to me, it felt like if I keep doing this, I am going to lose a part of myself that really matters. So I'm going to do whatever I can do to make it okay for me to quit this job. And I didn't quit it right away. That one, I was like, okay, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to work this business, online business, in the mornings, in the afternoons, whenever I can, when she's sleeping, and get it to a point where it will allow me to quit and be home more with them rather than being gone at this work all the time. And so that one was not a fast quit. That one was like, I know I want to quit this. And now I have to make a plan and put a plan in place to make it happen so that I can quit. But even then, it was terrifying.
Yeah. And brave of you to do all those things, because how often do you think we stay the course in misery, perhaps, or even in knowing that it's not the right course, but because we can't trust that there's something else?
All the time.
Yes. Yes. My go-to mantra when I'm really struggling with whatever it is, because it seems like it fits all of it, is, but when I'm really like, I don't know what to do here, is I trust life.
Yeah.
And it just brings me a really peaceful, like, okay, it's okay. I trust life.
Yeah.
Something else is going to show up for me. I don't even know what it's going to look like. And I'm just going to trust that it's going to show up. And I think that might be an easier thing to hold on to. That's just really like you don't have to figure it all out in your head at first. That eventually those ideas are going to drop into your space or become obvious, even if they're not right now. So
Yeah.
the whole I trust life thing was really helpful for me. I forgot who gave that to me, but I was like, oh, that makes it real easy. Well, easier.
Still hard. Yeah.
Still hard.
Still hard.
Wait, still hard.
Yeah. I do think that it's trusting life and the universe is going to help you figure out the next step. Um, and trusting yourself in the feelings. And I do want to distinguish between the feeling that I'm talking about, where I don't know how else to describe it, except this is really how it feels to me, is like a piece of my soul is shriveling up and dying, versus feeling like, oh, this is going to be hard and it might take a lot of work. And I have to like gear up to do that effort, because those are two different feelings. And I think very often people confuse, oh, this is going to be hard and it's going to take a lot of effort, with, I hate this. And they're different.
Okay.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Hmm.
Because it's like, to do anything, it's going to be hard and it's going to take you out of your comfort zone and you're going to feel uncomfortable while you're doing it. That's okay. That's good to feel, because then you're growing and you're trying something new and you're letting the universe like put new things in your path. Uh, Versus I'm sitting in this situation that I've created of my own doing. And if I continue, I'll lose a part of myself.
And if you know, right? Like you would know if you're feeling that way, you know about it, that you're
I,
losing a part of yourself.
I think that it's easy to explain maybe in a way of like, oh, it's not that bad. this is fine. Because in all of these scenarios, it's like, sure, continuing getting a PhD, moving on that path, that would have been fine. I could have done it just fine. Um, if I pictured myself 20 years down the line, I saw a shriveled up version of myself.
Well, that is interesting to have that choice, right? Of do I keep doing it this way because I know it would work on some level, or do I choose what I know is going to be harder at first, but serve me bigger in the end,
Yeah, even
right?
if you don't have a like clear picture of what it is even going to be.
Oh, that is such a leap of faith.
I know. It really is. It really is.
You're good at that. You know, that's kind of what Pittsburgh is when you moved from Colorado back to Pittsburgh. And I was like, I didn't understand this choice at all. At
And I was
all.
like, I don't really either. I don't understand it, but
But I know it's happening.
I have to do it. That one felt less like quitting because I didn't feel like part of my soul was dying there, but it felt like it was more a magnet pulling me to Pittsburgh. But the moving into the RV, selling our home and selling everything we owned and moving into an RV on a trip that we had no idea where it was going to take us, that one was like, yeah, if we stay here, this is not the place. This place is not fueling us. So let's get in the RV and see where it takes us. With a big leap like
Wow.
that too.
Again with the brave. Like there's such a part of me that does not, that resists that. And it's the older part of me, like the younger part of me, the footloose and fancy free that was like, I want to experience life to its fullest would be like, hell yeah. But now that I'm like family and kids, and now that feels a lot more challenging relationships. But there's also a part of it like that feels like empowering and like, whoo, yeah, let's shake this shit up.
Yes, but I also see a benefit to the rootedness that you also have and the commitment, the long-term commitment to land and family and people and place. I think that that's beautiful too. And that is I think I have a benefit in not ever, obviously, I have my family that I feel very connected to. And I still have also felt like it's okay for me to go far at times. But I've never had that sort of rootedness in place that has, had I had that, I think a lot of those choices would have felt a lot harder because it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just leaving a job. It would be like, I'm leaving this place that has nurtured me and been part of me for so, so long.
I will say it's easier for me to quit like a commitment to drive 30 minutes back into Durango to hang out with somebody after I've been in
Yes.
Durango all day. Then I have to drive home 30 minutes away and then to like dull myself back up to do some activity with friends that I know will be fun. But I'm like, it's just real easy for me to quit that. Like
Yeah.
that feels easy to quit.
Yeah.
Even though I know that's probably disappointing people. Like I don't really like to disappoint people, but it's kind of like that FOMO piece of I have to participate in every activity available to me. That died with my children's births.
Yes. And it needs to because you have to also preserve your energy and your time and your presence.
Right. And I often quit, although I would really like to not be such a quitter in this department, but my commitment to go to my boxing class. Like, I'm going to buy that monthly pass again, and I'm going to hope I get there more than twice. I'm going to hope I'm going to do it 2 times or 3 times a week. That's what I'm going to do. And then it comes around my boxing class time, and I'm like, I did not get as much done this morning as I thought I was going to get done. So I'm going to quit that plan and do my other plans. But really, it's like quitting on my workout, which
But sometimes you're not quitting on your workout. Sometimes you do something else that feels more nurturing in that moment, like a walk or dancing or something like that. And I don't see that as quitting. I see that as nurturing yourself and aligning your movement with how you're feeling. I mean, sometimes it's like I've got too much to do and I can't do this. That's okay too.
I know. I really think that, and I agree, but I do wonder, if I would just be in such great shape if I just could have committed to that 6-month plan. I told my boxing coach, I was like, I really do want to get in shape. She's like, you are in shape. I was like, that's kind of you to say that. We both know I'm not in shape. We both know it. But you're in shape because you work out for 6 hours a day
Yeah,
and you look
she's
like you're in shape. And I don't have 6 hours a day. I mean, it's hard for me to find an hour. So, and it's not, so yeah, that's the piece though, right? Like it's hard for me to find an hour, which I guess is self-care, but, and I need to be doing it more. It's a need now. Like before I was like, choice, choice. But now as I go into this older part of me, I'm like, no, that's actually a need. You do actually need to make yourself sweat because it was a choice. And now to stay healthy, it is a need.
it is a need.
So you can't quit, Kyla.
Yes. I guess the way that I think about fitness, though, is that as I cycle through my monthly cycle, the beginning half, where from when I get my period to when I'm ovulating, then I'm like, I can work out hard. I can lift weights, I can
Mm,
run, I can do stuff like that. After I have ovulated until I get my period, my energy is different. My needs are different. My desire to move. It's like, I feel like there's two versions of me throughout the month, and they need different types of movement. And so it feels like part of the reason why you feel like you're a quitter is that you're trying to make one form of movement meet your
the
needs
form.
all the time.
Oh, thank you. That's so true. Like I sometimes want to punch the crap out of something.
Yes.
And other times I just barely want to stretch, like
Yes.
really light stretching, like restorative yoga kind of style.
Yes.
And that's probably 80-20. Like 20% of the time I might want to punch something, but 80% of the time I want to do restorative yoga or very gentle, fun dancing.
Yes, something that feels nurturing to your body in that moment. And I think that so it's like if you find maybe it is if you find yourself feeling like you're quitting something all the time or more than you want to be, but you feel like it matters to you, it's like, okay, well, is it really that thing that you're quitting? Or is it that you have a like a higher value that you're trying to fill, like movement and health? And this thing can't fill that box for you consistently. So you either need to change it or open it up to other things,
Right. Redefine what that means.
redefine it. Yeah. So that you can
Yeah.
be committed to movement, but not
Hmm.
committed to this one specific type of movement that isn't going to meet your needs. We are very complex and we are cycling on 28 days. We really are different, like biologically and physically throughout the month. And you have to honor that.
That is like the best permission slip to doing what I want that I think I've ever been given.
Do what you want.
Do what I
Yes.
want.
Yeah. I mean, even
Yeah.
don't you feel it? Like I feel I think I'm very sensitive to this, but when I am in the second half of my cycle and I try to lift weights, I am like, oh, I'm so weak. Why am I so weak? And at the beginning half, I'm like, I could do anything. I just noticed the difference in my own strength and energy. So it's so clear to me. Oh, I can't do that right now.
I think I forget.
And trusting the interest will come back again.
That's right, because that makes much sense. But I'm like the person that's like, I don't know when I cycled last. I think I
Oh,
wrote it down on my calendar, but I can't remember. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm just not that consistent. This is a separate
it's a
episode.
separate
This
episode.
is a separate
I
episode.
also
And
love
it's
this
so
topic.
important. It's so
Yes.
important to talk about this. And it's so important to recognize it. And it's so important to chart it. But for me, it's been like, why do I feel this way? Like, I just want the world to end. Oh, oh,
And
I
then you
know.
get your period. Oh,
That's
all
right.
right. That makes
That's
sense.
right. That's fine. It's
And
fine.
yet, isn't it funny that our husbands can be like, you know why you're like this?
But that is not okay for them to suggest that. That is never going to go well for them.
Will never
If they
go
even
well.
remotely send any indication that there could be something happening with their cycle, but also we can talk about their cycles because they cycle as well.
They have a 24-hour cycle. They do. Ours is 28 days and theirs is 24 hours
Well, we'll get into this more later because I feel like this is a huge topic. Write
cycles.
down that, right?
I
Write
did.
down the 24-hour cycle.
I
Okay,
did.
because we got to talk about that more.
But I think the other piece of that, which I said briefly, but I want to say it again because this is one that I always get tripped up on, is the when I'm more in that, like, oh, I really just want to do gentle things and I don't feel like I have this energy. For whatever reason, my brain then tells me you're never going to want to do that again. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
this is the way I'm going to feel forever. And oh my gosh, I'm never going to want to go to that boxing class or whatever it is. Like, I will never want to do it again. And this is work that I've been working on lately and realizing this is going to pass, trusting I'm going to get back to a higher energy level and I'm going to feel motivated again. And just because I don't feel motivated today doesn't mean I won't feel motivated ever. Like, why is that so simple? It's such a simple concept, but one that I
I don't know.
do not get on most days. But that's so helpful to me. Even in business, I feel that often I will find I'll just have periods where I feel so unmotivated and I'm like, oh, I am such a failure. I don't want to do anything. Why am I like this? And then I just have to remind myself, no, you've done this before. You've gone through these cycles before. You always get your motivation back and then you're very productive. Let yourself rest so that when that productive time comes, you're ready for it.
Mm, I know. And I do feel like we do that for each other. Where are you in your cycle right now? Okay.
Right.
You're going to get through this.
Right. Exactly. You're going to be fine.
Give it a day, maybe 3.
Yes. You're going to be fine. You're going to feel amazing.
I just want to go back to bed. You
Or
do want
no,
to go back to bed. Yeah. And
that's
that's
normal.
okay.
That is right. You
That's
should.
normal.
You should maybe go back to
You
bed.
should.
That's where you need to be right now.
Okay. What is the wrap up?
Yeah. The wrap up with
Oh,
that, whose life are you living? Right? Like, this is yours. And so you've got to make the decisions that really are going to take your life in the direction that it needs to go for your soul and your path.
right.
That to me really is just sort of the key of it. I think that it can be very liberating to be open to, even if you put a lot of time and energy into something, to recognizing that you need to go a different direction and not judging it as wrong for leaving something. That to me, I think that's the lesson that I've had to learn and that I would love for other people to be able to understand without having to like work so hard to learn it. Like, it's okay, even if you put a decade into a career, to change it if an opportunity is presenting itself and it lights your soul up. Do it.
Oh, yeah. Imagine. And even if you don't know what that opportunity is yet, just to like let yourself be open. This doesn't always have to feel this way.
Yes. And it can be terrifying when you
Like,
have kids and bills to pay and all of that. And it can also be absolutely amazing.
which is maybe where people should be asking for it. Are you asking the universe or your God, or are you even asking like energetically, show me what else is possible? Show me. Like, maybe I don't trust right now. Like, I want to believe I trust life, but I also need you to show me what else is possible.
Yes.
And then look for the signs.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
Because
I
I
like
feel like
that.
that's huge too. When it's like, oh, you want to know? Well, why'd you ask?
I know. That's what happened with Pittsburgh too. It was like, what's going on? Like, our housing situation was so precarious in Durango. We knew that like we were not going to be able to stay in that house forever and prices had skyrocketed. And I was like, what are we going to do? And then the universe was like, had 4 people mention Pittsburgh to me in a week. And I was like, right, Pittsburgh. I can buy a house in Pittsburgh. And
You
then
should do that.
yeah. And I was like, oh, I like it there. I've lived there. It's a great place. And it was this sort of like, oh, everything feels really unsettled and I don't know. It feels like a change is coming. I don't know what that is. Please show me. And they were like, go to Pittsburgh. The the message that people always receive. when they're looking for guidance. Go to
They get
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is channeled often, I'm sure. Uh-huh. Yep. That's why it's was so confusing for me. But
Everyone, to everyone. Oh,
okay, so do you have any magic to share that like a magic experiment? Did you do a magic experiment?
I wish I did a magic experiment. The magic that I'm appreciating is we got some new deck furniture.
I love deck furniture. I
Yeah, I
do.
mean, who wouldn't? And we've been sitting outside for every meal this week, except last night because it
Mm.
was very rainy. And our deck has just beautiful views of the sunset, and the birds are always very chirpy and busy. And so it has been so nice to just have that point of connection every night as the sun is going down and the weather is cooling. And it's just been really lovely. So I'm very thankful for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
What about you?
Well, I want to honor that my youngest son, pulled me aside in like secret to tell me about his magic powers, which um I'm not sure I should reveal on here. But essentially he was just wanting some validation for the fact that his intuition is tuned up.
Oh, I like that so much.
Yeah. And
And
so, and he did say to me, I've had this for a long time, referencing his intuition. I was like, yes, you have. And it just feels, it was like not a thing that he wanted to just talk about it, the two of us. And so shared some stories and stuff. But it was pretty cool that he was like, that thing, that sixth sense you were talking about? And I can't even remember when we were talking about it, but the fact that he
he
still was
did.
referencing it, he
Hmm.
did. And then he just kind of wanted to be validated. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. But I just thought it was so cute. I think this has been with me for a long time. I'm like, yeah, probably like your whole life, but good job for recognizing that.
And so wonderful that he came to you and wanted to have the conversation about
I
it.
know. I just loved that so much. So it was like a little magical moment with the two of us. And how nice would it have been to have that at that age to be say to your parent,
It would be
also this thing that I'm experiencing, is this real? And then
right.
to have someone be like, yep, that's
Yes,
real.
I know. Yeah, it would have been life changing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Starting young with the magic hits. But FYI, they do not want to be referenced as magic. They are very anti-magic, and it is not happening.
You cannot
In
intentionally say
secret.
we are going to be doing magic. They will check out. We have experience
No,
of this.
they do not want to participate. Often I will hear, "Oh, are you talking about magic again, Mom?" Ah.
You just need to slip it in there without them knowing, and they'll
Mhm.
still get it. Okay, I love that very much. So, on that, we will end.
Exiting the vortex.
Go hitch your wagon to
All
a
right.
rainbow.
To a rainbow.